Hello, welcome to another Lawn Fawn Cards videos. Today we're going to learn how to use the cuttlebug and make a card. So here we are with our card base. This card is standard size, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 tall. And right there I have some of the pattern paper that I'm going to use for the card. So right now what I'm going to be doing is applying adhesive to the back of that paper. It's kind of a fabric fuzzy paper. I actually got it from Costco. Check your Costco every once in a while. There's actually cool stuff there. So this crazy looking tape gun is an ATG or adhesive transfer gun. It's giant, but it's much cheaper than buying all those other little ones, and once you get the hang of it, you get the hang of it. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here so you don't have to see me adding all the adhesive on. A little boring. So right now I'm just adding the paper to the card. I actually cut the decorative paper a little bit too wide to make sure that I have the whole card covered. So then what I'm going to have to do now is just trim it off. So I'm using some, I think they're called color bee scissors that are really nice, except for the fact that I've got them completely covered in adhesive, but they work really well if you don't do that, so don't cut anything with sticky stuff with your nice scissors. And right now I'm just trimming off that extra edge that I left on there to make sure that the full front of the card would be covered. And it took me a while because it was really sticky and because my scissors are really sticky. So once again, I'm just going to fast forward. Here we go. It's just fast forwarding right there, still trimming and still trimming. And now we have our card. So here's the card, and next I'm going to work on stamping. So I'm getting out another paper tray ink stamp set, papertrayink.com. This is called Fresh Alphabet, and it's actually the first time I've ever used it. So I'm just opening up my case now, and I'm going to start spelling out the word congrats. So I'm using one of my acrylic blocks that we talked about in one of the other videos, and I'm just placing the letters in a row. You have to do it backwards so it's, the mirror image, so it's the correct image when you stamp it. And I'm just spelling it out, so I'm just going to fast forward a second here while I keep spelling out congrats. There you go, keep spelling it out. And now what I'm going to do is just show you right there the stamp. Now these stamps, when they come from the manufacturer, have a bit of, I guess, the residue left over, the processing. So Paper Tray Ink and other companies recommend that you kind of season them a little bit. So they say to rub them with an eraser. I use Magic Rub. I think it's the best eraser ever, not just because of the name, but it's an awesome name too. And I just rub it across lightly, the letters, just to take off that sort of residue so that the ink sticks really well to the stamps. And then what I do is I take out my stamping scrub, which I actually cleaned. I talked about that in another blog entry. It's a stamp cleaner and I cleaned it, so it's kind of funny. And I use something called Ultra Clean that's supposed to be really good for acrylic stamps, and you spray it directly on the pad and you use one side wet and one side dry, so you can kind of just scrub off your ink or whatever you have on your stamp and then dry it off. So I'm just spraying some on. And then right now you're going to see I'm just going to get that eraser residue and whatever residue might be left from manufacturing off. And so right there I'm just going to now dry it on the other side so that I don't have any of that cleaner on there anymore. So that's that. So now we have a stamp that's primed and ready to go. You really only have to do that process once. So here's my Versamark ink pad, the watermark ink pad I had talked about in the embossing video. So that's what it actually looks like. So right now I'm going to go ahead and take the ink pad to my letters. So there's my card base, and I inked up all the letters, and right now I covered the camera with the back of my head, and so you can't see me stamping it, but I did. And now I'm covering it with white embossing powder. It's actually called Seafoam White, which is a great name. And now you can really see the congrats spelled out there. So there it is, covered in white embossing powder, and I have my my heat gun out again, and I'm letting it warm up right now. So just letting the heat come out of it so that it's an even temperature across the whole wording. So just letting it warm up. And here I go. I'm going to start embossing. And unfortunately my camera didn't get the best angle there, but you can see it kind of turning a brighter white. And it just gives it a raised, really bright white look. It's really nice on that gray cardstock that I used. I'm sorry for the bad filming there. And right now I'm just doing the last go over, and then what I'm going to do is turn the card over and actually heat the back of it, because it warps a little bit with the heat, and when you heat the back it kind of evens out the whole process. So now we're going to move on to using the cuttlebug finally. These right here are nestability dies. I think they're called shapeabilities by Spellbinders, and it's a flower shape. So I'm just pulling out the smallest flower out of there and just putting that away. And right here is my cuttlebug. So I'm opening up, and the best part about it is when you open it, it creates a suction which leaves it steady on your desktop, so it won't move around when you're trying to use your die cut. So now, you know, it's just, you're seeing it, it's cute, it's green, it's little, it folds up. I just love this little thing. Once again, it's by Provo Craft. It's called a cuttlebug, excuse me. And there's 3 plates. The A plate you just saw, the B plate that gets cut into, as you can see, and the C plate. And this is the order that I do it in. Everyone kind of has their preference, but this is what I like. I put the A plate down, and then I grab my B plate, and which you can see is all cut up, and I turn it all different ways when I put it in so that it doesn't get really turned and warps. It helps them last longer, although you can buy replacements. Then I put my paper down, which is actually some cutting out of a magazine, a Real Simple magazine, and put my die on top of that paper with the ridge down into the B plate. Then the C plate goes on top, and you create kind of a little sandwich there, ABC. So it's easy to remember. And then you'll see that crank moving right there. Just push it in, and then just kind of turn the crank and pull it through. And there it goes. It's just cut. And there's all sorts of other fun things you can do with the cuttlebug that I'll show you in some other videos. But right now you can just see this perfectly die cut flower that's just so beautiful. I just really, really love it. So now we're going to move on to finishing up the card. I'm using a little flower punch here to put a flower in the center out of black cardstock. And what I'm going to do is punch a hole in the black flower and a hole in the magazine paper flower. As you can see right there, right now I'm punching a hole in the magazine paper flower, so that I can stick a brad through both of them, a white brad that's actually shaped like a button. It's really cute. I'm sorry that's a little off camera again. I need to create a better filming situation, but I just put the brad in, so it's kind of a cute 3-layered black and white image, and I'm just folding the brad back. And so it's ready to go on the card. I don't actually put it through the card because I don't like the little metal thing sticking on the inside of the card. So there you go, there's that cute flower with the words. And then right now I just put some more of that ATG gun adhesive down, and I taped ribbon down to my card. And I'm just trimming off the excess again with my scissors real quick, just to have, the ribbon doesn't go all the way around, it's just a front ribbon detail. Sometimes I tie it all the way around and sometimes I don't, so just kind of trimming off the edges. And now I'm going to start placing the flower, and I'm going to use dimensionals again, those foam adhesive that I talked about in my other card where I made a video, or my other video where I made a card. So right now I'm just adding them to all the 5 petals so that it, you know, really just stands out nicely there. So of course they always get stuck to me, as you can see. I always have trouble with these things, but the effect is worth it. So there I go, putting them down, and now I'm just going to place it where I think it's going to look nice on the card, just right there above the ribbon, kind of, you know, adds a little focal element that's really nice. And I like the magazine paper. I think it looks fun. So here are some final pictures of my cards. There's some of the embossing detail. There's a close-up of the flower and the ribbon and the fabric paper and my whole card. So I hope you enjoyed watching. You can check out my blog or my shop at the links posted right there. And have an amazing day. Thanks for watching.